Alright, so I've got my General Pump TSF 2221, and I've got a gearbox I'm going to put on there. So this is a interpump group from Italy, and the model number is RS 500. Machine surfaces are fine. I was inspecting the gears, and they all look really good. The quality looks really nice. The casting on this one sucks, basically. This is where the O-ring goes in this groove, and the bottom of the groove is a little bit rough with the sand casting, but I believe that'll be fine. Now the mating surface is right here, which will go this way and crush this O-ring. Well, I started looking at this mating surface, and you can see where I've already done it, but right here I filed some of the flashing off of it. Where it came out of the mold, there's like a little lip, and I'll attach some photos here. But there's a big lip right here, and it's on 50% of it. And what that'll do is when you go to crush this O-ring, it'll keep that housing from going together all the way. You know, maybe it's not going to be a big deal, but I see it. I'm not going to run it that way. So basically, I'm going to take a file, and I'm just filing that casting. See where it shines up like that? There's flashing there. So I'm not taking a lot off because the flashing is minimal, but when you're trying to crush an O-ring, it could be an issue. Okay, so look at it now. You can every place the file took flashing off, it's shiny. So anyway, I'm going to take and shoot it with some brake clean and blow it off. The other thing is that I don't like about this gearbox is when it was shipped to me, it was shipped in this big plastic bag. Wasn't in a box, and this gear was sitting in here loose. So all this did was bang around during shipping. And so, and I'll attach some pictures here, but you can see right here there's aluminum filings or pieces right there and right here, and I can take my finger and you can see these filings from the gear in there. So if you just take this gear reduction and put it together, that O-ring may not get crushed properly, and if you haven't cleaned it out, you're going to have filings in it before you even start it up. And I also noticed that down here in this cavity here is, so you see the filings, so down here in this cavity it's already got some kind of dirt. It might just be the paint, but I don't like any of that either, so I'm going to spray this out and blow it out. Okay, another little piece right there. I'm going to get my air compressor and blow that out too, but you know, just a couple of things to look at before you start slapping things together. So, you know, a few of those pieces, getting the bearing, and you know, maybe this gearbox has a life expectancy of 5 years and you cut it to 4.5. Not a big deal. It's aluminum, probably wouldn't hurt, but you know, anytime you can keep trash out of your gears and bearings, you're way ahead. Alright, so what I have to do next is mount this adapter onto the pump. And even though there's no instructions that came with the gear reduction, I think that would be helpful for a lot of people. I can obviously see that it needs to go right there. So that would require taking these bolts out. Okay, so I can see that it has a nice machine surface right here. So that's going to accept this. So there's an O-ring right here. So what I like to lube O-rings with is 100% silicone grease. And you can find this like at Lowe's or Home Depot in the plumbing section. It's a lot cheaper if you get it there than if you buy it online. So O-rings really need to be lubricated with silicone grease. Alright, so there's Loctite already loaded into these onto these threads. So see how it fits. Want to bring these bolts down evenly. Alright, so I have the housing seated flush against the pump flange, and so now I'm going to tighten it up. I don't really have a torque spec for that. So I'm just going to kind of feel. Let that Loctite do its job. Alright, so I did some measurements, and this gear, this hub goes toward the pump right here. This gear goes all the way in till it seats, and that is the right measurement for proper gear engagement. So you don't have to think about it. They've already got this figured out. If you use this combination of pump and gearbox to put it all the way up tight against that shaft shoulder. And then there's a set screw right here, and it's a little tight to get to. You'll need a long Allen key. So we'll tighten that up. Real tight. Alright, so we're good to go there. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is install the O-ring in this groove. And before we do that, we're going to coat it in silicone grease. So a little bit between the fingers, work it. like so. And there's some O-ring teeth right here that's going to hold the O-ring down. They're kind of set around just little nubs there, so you want to make sure your O-ring is pushed down and they're good. Keeps it in place while you're installing it. Fits like a glove. And it's important that that doesn't fall out of the groove when you go to install it. So I'm going to put a little bit of grease here on the flange. And one more little shot around here. Okay, so that feels all right. So we're ready to go. Now before you put any bolts in it, make sure this gap is the same all the way around, because if it's not, that means your O-ring fell out of the groove. Okay, so that looks fine. Same gap around. Okay, so now we have to install these bolts. Okay, so take your long Allen wrench and run them down till they're just finger tight, like that, and alternate. It's always good, no matter what you put together, that you alternate your tightening pattern. Torque pattern is what it's called, but I don't know what the torque is on these, so this is just going to be tight. The gap is closed up, so now all we have to do is tighten it enough though those bolts won't come loose. So we're actually, the way a bolt actually holds in place is that you stretch it and it acts as a metal rubber band, so it's pulling together. And so I want to at least get it where it's stretched a little bit. So I'm going to go around one more time this way. Put a little bit more torque on it before I get any wilder with it. Even if you're doing a engine pan or a head or something like that, you want to take it down in a couple of different steps. Make sure I didn't miss any by going all the way around it. Okay, so now I'm going to stretch that bolt and put some little bit of torque on it. Okay. All right, so here's what it looks like. So I think what I'll do is I'll put my plug in the bottom here. Put a little bit of silicone grease on it. Go ahead and tighten that down. Not too tight. It's got an O-ring. You just don't want the plug loose where it's going to come out, but the O-ring does the sealing. Okay, so this came in the kit. It's the oil fill, and it's going to have a vent built under here somewhere. But get that O-ring up in place, and I'm going to lube that O-ring like so. So that's my dipstick and fill. And vent all in one. Okay. So this takes 80-90 weight gear grease. And so I'm not going to put any grease in it right now. But I just don't want to forget before I start it up. Alright, it was all I could do to get my engine up here on the mount. It's not that I couldn't lift it, I had issues lifting it that high. So I'm contemplating on if I want to install another 50 pounds on it and then try to lift it off. I may have to get my neighbor, or if my son's over here, have him help me get it off. You've got some issues with corrosion, so I just spent a little extra money here on the stainless steel. So I want to bring them up from the bottom. So, well, first of all, I put a flat washer on there because I don't want it pulling through any holes or slots on the bottom or the top. So, got that one in. Washer, and then a nut. I bought them 2 inches long, just in case I want to double nut them to keep them tight. So I'm just going to put them in loose and then get all of them in, and then tighten them down evenly. Alright, I'm just using a couple of 9/16 box ends to tighten these mounting bolts up. Alright guys, so I had my son help me carry it out off the workbench out here to its final resting point. A lot of people online are saying that their crankshaft is fusing to this input on their gearboxes or pumps, and they can't get it apart. So my thought is it must be getting, no matter how much grease or anti-seize you put on here, that eventually goes away and in comes the water. So to keep the water out of here, I come up with an idea of using this high temperature silicone foam, and it's 1/2 inch, and it'll compress down to, well, just about however far you want to compress it. It's dense though. I'm surprised how much I can compress it. But what I'm trying to do is get it to go in all these grooves, and especially this one right here, this area right here, to seal that off, and then to get in this area and seal this off, and then just kind of smoosh in there. So if I can keep most or all the water out of there, then when it comes time to slip that motor back off, or the pump, then it should come off pretty easily. So I've just kind of marked where my cuts are going to be. This is my outside cut. Here's the crankshaft, and this should be about where this area is. So let me get to cutting on that. I did try it. Scissors is really the way to go. So I'll get back with you when I get her all cut. Okay, I'm beveling the outside edges a little bit because I don't want that to smoosh out into this machine mating area here. I'll make sure that when it compresses, it stays clear of this area right here. That's where it's going to mount, right here. And this doesn't have to be perfect. Even if it rubs on the crankshaft a little bit, it's not going to hurt anything. I'll probably get my knife and finish that up. Stuff cuts pretty easy. Even if it rubs on this crankshaft here, it's going to eventually just wear into it. So I'm going to be ready to install the pump. It's going to go this way, and the keyway is in the 5 o'clock position, and I don't have an easy way to get in here and turn this input to match the crankshaft, so I'm going to turn the crankshaft, and the easiest way to do that is with a adjustable wrench. Get it where it slides over the crank, make sure your key's on it, and then you can just easily turn your engine. So that looks like about 5 o'clock, and I'm going to lube this up with silicone grease. Just in case. Make sure it doesn't stick. Put a little silicone grease in here where that silicone might rub. And then a little bit in here. Okay, looks pretty good. Oh, I can't believe how heavy that is. Let's see. Yeah, that should fit. Okay. Looks good. So looks like it ought to compress in there. Since these bolts are going to go into aluminum, I'm going to put a little bit of silicone grease on them. Okay, all that's left is to tighten that up evenly until we're down flush. These are, even though this is a foreign engine, it's tapped for 3/8 bolts. So it's made for the US market. Otherwise they would have been like, what would that have been? 10 millimeter, I believe. But it's, the literature said 3/8. So I was happy with that. Okay, so I've got all the bolts tight. I was careful to watch to see if any of the silicone got on that mating flange, and it did not. That seal is taking up most of the space. Over here you can really see it. It's conforming to the shape. You can see inside there. I know that's at least going to help keep the water out of there. So there ought to be some kind of seal made for that anyway. It's just a bad point here to get water in on that crankshaft and fuse all that crap together. But anyway, there she is. Pretty cool. Like I said, I believe on my second video, maybe first video, this pump was rated at 10.2 gallons per minute with a 22 or 23 horse motor. So I got a 22 horse motor. I'm just hoping I get between 8 and 10, maybe 8.5 to 9.5. I'm fine with that. So yeah, I'll go ahead and put my unloader on next, and intake, fitting, and then tape it all up, seal it, and maybe start doing some plumbing. Okay, so I want to go over some things here of the costs of building this basically a 9 gallon per minute 22 horse pressure washer. So I'm hoping you can see that. So my motor cost $770, that's tax included, and I had a 15% off coupon at Harbor Freight. Otherwise it's going to be about $875. If I went with a Briggs motor, 23 horse Briggs, the cheapest I can find online with shipping is $1,450, and then you're going to need about a $100 muffler. Same way with the Honda 690, about $1,600 shipped, and you're going to need another $100 muffler. I think Honda mufflers are $150. Gearbox $275, pump $775, unloader was $40, fittings about $15, and the base was $75 for the base right there. So total here is $1,945. If the cheapest I found online for an 8 gallon per minute 20 to 23 horse pressure washer shipped is around $3,400. I mean, you can find them between $3,400 and $3,900 shipped. So this build here is $1,945 right here, with a savings of $1,455 in this instance. And I don't really care that I'm not looking for this thing to last 10 years. If it goes 2 years, I'll be really happy. If it goes a year, I'll be equally as happy. If my business goes just fine, and when this motor goes out, I'll probably buy a Honda. But right now I don't even know how much business I'm going to get, so I think this is going to do just fine. Remember now, these engines are going to take a fuel tank. So I've got a 12 gallon fuel tank coming, and I'm going to set it here. It's a little overkill, but I thought, who knows, down the road if I need some more fuel for, say, a gas roof pump or something like that, I'll have it. So anyway, I thought maybe that would be interesting. I'm going to install my unloader, and what amazes me is this is a 3/8 unloader. Oddly, I think the intake should be 1 inch to 1.25 inches, and the output should be a 1/2 inch to 5/8. But we have a basically 3/4 inch inlet and 3/8 inch outlet. So your 3/8 inch outlet fittings, you know, are doing some restriction. So this nipple will go on here, then this unloader goes on, and what just blows my mind is, here's your 3/8 nipple. Look at the inlet of this unloader that was recommended. Isn't that stupid? In a machine and in a business where you're looking at volume and pressure, and mostly volume, you're initially dropping your volume down tremendously. So since this was spec'd out for me, I'm going to install this. But as soon as I get a few jobs, and I might do that beforehand, because I'm just not happy with that. That can't even be a 1/4 inch hole there for your unloader. So that should at least be 3/8 of an inch, if that's 3/8 of an inch. So Yeah, I think I'm going to leave that off. You know, screw that. I'm going to buy a larger unloader, because look at that. Even the output side of that unloader, look how small that is. Look what it's pulling from, and look what it's going to come out of. So right off the bat, I'm losing volume. I don't care what you say. So the diameter of your pipes is where you lose your volume. Your pressure will still be the same whether that is a 2-inch pipe or a little 1/4-inch pipe. Your pressure stays the same, but your volume is what's going to be reduced. From the magic of editing, I've got my new 1/2-inch general pump unloader here. Here's my original 3/8. This one's rated for about 5.5 gallons per minute to 21 gallons per minute max. This original one is rated up to 10.5 gallons per minute. This one's a 3/8, this one's a 1/2. Look at the inlets. Quite a bit of difference. This one has got to be a 1/4 inch or less. This one, even though it's a 1/2 inch, that hole's probably 7/16 of an inch. Huge difference. Now let's look at the outputs. Look at that. Huge difference. Now this one cost me, I think, $116 on eBay, and I believe these are like 40 to 50. But look at that. You know, what this is going to do is from the get-go give me as much volume as I can. I put a post on a forum, maybe 2 forums, and basically people were saying, oh, this one works just fine. That's what they were sold. I think if you take this one and put it on, you wouldn't know any difference, and maybe there's not going to be a ton of difference. And if I have time, I might mount this later and then mount this one and see how much volume I have, but it's got to be better. So this is new one, big one's a general pump. This one looks like a general pump. I mean, it's identical, except this one's bigger. They're both made in Italy, so I think they're from the same manufacturer. They're just basically identical. So here's the part number to this 1/2 inch one. It's a GP 2124, and that again is a general pump rated for 4,050 pounds up to 21 gallons per minute. So huge difference. Alright, so my pump has a 3/8 iron pipe female outlet. So I bought a 3/8 by 1/2 inch high pressure stainless steel coupling. So this will go on here, and then my unloader will go here, and then since I have a 1/2 inch output right here, I'll go a 1/2 inch from here with a 1/2 inch whip. And I originally had 3/8 on here, but I'm going to buy a 1/2 inch whip. And so the only restriction I have is right there, 3/8 of an inch. So it's going to open up, be 1/2 inch, unrestricted to my 1/2 inch reel. The first 50 foot of my hose is 1/2 inch. Then I have 200 feet of 3/8 on top of that. So I should be able to get most of the volume, at least to my reel, from the pump. I'm still surprised that outlet of the pump, being this pump is so big, is not a 1/2 inch. But anyway, I don't build the pumps. So that's basically it, guys. So from here on out, you would put a 1/2 inch, coupling to a whip or a quick connect, and a quick connect here so your whip can come in and out. I do have a downstream injector that I can put in here too, so it's probably going to be a quick connect. So that's going to be my setup. So basically this whole thing, including this $116 unloader, is right at $2,000. Anyway, that's my pressure washer build. And if you got any questions, leave them down in the comment section. Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down, I don't care. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.